Love. It's all around our world. It's described in many different forms. It's shown in many different ways. But how do we know what love is? That's what we've got to figure out. Hello everyone, I'm Jonathan Burns and thank you for joining me on Walking with the Word. This is a program where we just sit down with the Bible and try to figure out how we should live, act, and move in this life and how we can better focus our minds on heaven. I want you to know that you are a crucial part of our program here at Walking with the Word. We want you to know you are highly involved. We care about what you think. We care about what you want to study. And to do that, we've set up this entire year of how you can be involved. Go to our website, www.twtv.org, click on the survey tab, and there you can fill out a survey that will help us see what topics you would like to study right here on this program. And this particular day, we're discussing biblical love. And this was brought by someone asking the question, what does it really mean to love? And how I want us to do this today is I want us to see two different areas. Number one, 6 dangerous loves. And then number 2, loving the unlovable as we think about the word love. By seeing things we should not love and by seeing how we should love by looking at Jesus and His life. Number 1, let's look at 6 dangerous loves, and let's start with the first one, the love of self. It is dangerous, ladies and gentlemen, to love self. In 2 Timothy 3, 1 and 2, Paul writes, "But know this, that in the last days perilous times will come, for men will be lovers of themselves. They will want to be about me. They will want to be about my ways, my decisions, my feelings, my desires, my hopes, my dreams, my cares, my wants." Boy, do you get it? Me, my. That's dangerous. Because what have I done? I have elevated myself above all others that I know. I have made myself the highest person in the room, even to the point of having an elevated opinion of myself over God. You see, when I love myself, nobody else matters. When I love myself, God does not matter. When I am a lover of self, it's all about me. It's all about what I want. It's all about who I am and who you should be to me. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a dangerous love because it makes you, it makes me the only one that matters. Not only should we be concerned about loving ourselves, in 6 dangerous loves, number 2, I need to be concerned about the love of money. Paul writes this, "For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil, for which some have strayed from the faith in their greediness, and pierced themselves through with many sorrows." Now, Paul is writing here, and he's not saying money is the great problem. Because it's not gold, it's not silver, it's not brass, it's not anything of value that's the problem. It is when I love money, riches, wealth, more than I love self, more than I love others, more than I love God. And it is this type of attitude that's dangerous. Now, certainly, we need to understand money can be used for good and money can be used for evil, but money on its own, it is not inherently evil. And thus, we need to know that it's not money, but it's the love of money. And he says it has caused some to stray. In other words, if I love money more than I love God, I will leave His words. That's dangerous, ladies and gentlemen. It will harm us, it will steal us, it will rob us, it will kill us. And interestingly enough, he says some have strayed because of their greediness, and they have pierced themselves with many sorrows. When we love money, it becomes dangerous because I love evil. I love riches. I love anything that gets me more than I love following God. It's dangerous when I have the love of money in my life. Not only that, it's dangerous when I have the love of praise. In the book of Matthew, he writes, "And when you pray, you shall not be like the hypocrites. For they love to pray standing in the synagogues and on the corners of the streets, that they may be seen of men. Assuredly, I say to you that they have their reward." Jesus is teaching here, and He's telling these individuals that when we love to be praised, we have a problem. Because what we love is we love to elevate and bring oneself up to a higher position of which we deserve. And we want to put ourselves in that motion set so that we are the preeminent one. We are the one that matters. We are the one someone should come to ask our questions of. We are the ones of which can give you all the answers that you would ever want to know. That's dangerous, ladies and gentlemen. These individuals in the book of Matthew that Jesus is describing, they prayed in the synagogues and in the streets, the corners of the streets, so that everyone could hear them. But they forgot about one who needed to hear them. They forgot about the one of which they should be heard from, that is God. They wanted men to hear. They wanted men to hear more than they wanted God to hear. And thus they loved that praise. And Jesus tells us here, they have their reward. Another dangerous love that you and I might face is the love of pleasure. This one's easy to describe. Lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God. When I love the things of this life more than I love God, I'll chase after them. I'll do whatever I can to get them. I'll focus on them. I'll follow after them. I will do anything I can for a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. I want you to notice the last part of this passage. Rather than lovers of God. It's all about me again. That's the idea. What can I enjoy? What can I get out of this particular scene? You see, it's dangerous. Now, all of these things, they connect into two different categories, and I want to share them with you. They're really the same category in the idea of love and the idea of this world. Here's the first. The love of the world. 1 John 2:15. Do not love the world or the things in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. Not in him. Listen to this again. Do not love the world. It is so easy, isn't it, to love the world? It's so easy to find the things I like the most. And for you to find the things that you like the most. It's so easy to find the things that I love doing. But the problem is, when I love the things I enjoy doing more than I love God, I will slowly pull myself away from God until I'm backed away from Him as far as I can. It's dangerous, ladies and gentlemen. Because when I love the world, I no longer love God. And most of the things we're talking about today have to do with you and I when we love the world more than we love God. The same is true in the last passage in John 3:19. And this is the condemnation, that the light has come into the world and men love darkness rather than light. Listen to this. Because their deeds were evil. Oh. Jesus, in this particular scene, is not describing light. There's much light in this room as this is being recorded, and darkness. What happens when all the switches go off? But He's talking about light, good deeds, darkness, evil deeds. There is a difference between the two. And I'm either going to love righteousness or I'm going to love lawlessness. I've got to choose which one I follow. And the love of darkness, ladies and gentlemen, it is dangerous. You see, there are 6 dangerous loves. But how do I figure out how to love and love appropriately? Now, we're not going to dive into all the Greek forms of love, the romantic love, agape love, selfless love, family love. We're not going to get into all of those things because we only have one word for love. It's love. So how do I love as Christ loved? Well, here's number one, something we need to do. We need to see with His heart. We need to love with His heart. It's in John 8:11. She said, "No one, Lord." And Jesus said to her, "Neither do I condemn you. Go and sin no more." In this occasion, there was a woman who was brought before Jesus. And this most likely large group of men brought this woman and they said to him, "We've caught her in the very act of adultery. What are you going to do about it, Lord?" That was the implication. They were trying to get Jesus in anything they could get him in. And they were trying to force him into something. They thought they could get him. And Jesus simply doesn't play the game they want to play. Number one, because He's Jesus, but number two, because He is righteousness. And after these men leave, and by the way, have you ever noted that in John chapter 8, 1 through 11, where this conversation is taking place and Jesus says, "Go and sin no more." In this occasion, we brought this woman, we caught her in adultery. You know how many it takes to be in adultery? But they only brought one. They couldn't see the error of their ways. Aha, we got him. Aha, we'll trick him. We'll cause him to do something and everybody's going to hate him. But we need to love with His heart. None of her accusers are there. She says, "No, they're all gone." And Jesus says, "Neither do I condemn you." By the way, John 3:17, He didn't come to condemn the world, but to save the world. He didn't come to tell everybody how wrong they were in the scenes of this is how wrong you are and this is what punishment. He came to save. And Jesus says these words, "Neither do I condemn you. Go and sin no more." You see, many times Christianity, and I want to say this carefully, I don't say this as broad, I don't say this as everyone, but many times this is the characterization of Christianity. Christianity is seen not as the go and sin no more bunch, but the look how bad you are. There's a difference. And to love with His heart, folks, that makes a difference. Not only do we need to be people who love with His heart, we need to be people who see with His eyes. It's Luke 19:10, "For the Son of Man has come to seek and to save that which was lost." That passage may not make a lot of sense to us to see with His eyes. What are you talking about? Well, go back to Luke 19, 1 through 9, and there's a man by the name of Zacchaeus. He was short in stature. He climbs up in a tree to see Jesus. There's a famous kid's song about it. Go learn about it. And Jesus has a meal with this man. And Jesus instructs this man. Jesus sees past what we would see. Jesus sees past the clothes and the stature and the height, and Jesus sees past all of that. And if we could see with His eyes, how would we love the unlovable? Not only that, to see this idea of love the unlovable, we need to feel His sacrifice. If you've not read Matthew 27 lately, go read it. Matthew 27:50. "And Jesus cried out again with a loud voice and yielded up His spirit." Feel His sacrifice, folks. Feel the pain and the agony and the sorrow and feel it all. And then you see how He loved. He gave it all. For who? For you and for me. For all of the world. What if we treated our world like that? We've entitled this point, Loving the Unlovable. We are unlovable when we choose sin and sin and sin and sin. But Jesus in His world that chose sin and sin and sin and sin, He showed them a better way. That's what we need to be about. We need to be about showing people a better way. There are dangerous forms of love. We looked at 6 of them. That's not all of them. And then we love the unlovable by looking through the eyes and the heart and the sacrifice of Jesus. And boy, if we could do that more, we could change, we could, dare I say, love our world. And what a difference it would make if you, if I, if we took God's Word, if we involved ourselves in God's Word, and we simply walked with it every day of our lives.